Alright, here we are getting woke. I'd like to make another video, and this one's going to be a little scientific-y. It includes quantum shared systems theory, flux theory, and morphogenetic fields theory. But I'm not even going to talk about it that much. I'm just scientifically wise. I'm going to talk mostly metaphorically wise. First of all, through morphic fields theory and the shared systems theory, we are learning more and more. If you look at Rupert Sheldrake's work or Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, both of these guys are super awesome to follow. They make the complicated things seem very uncomplicated. Anyhow, these new theories are teaching us that the body, the physical body, is not, well, hopefully by now we know that this is not who we are. That it's more of a vehicle for who we are, but it's obviously intrinsically connected with who we are. Like we're hardwired into it. It's not like my car that I can step in and out. But also, it seems as though, based on the materialistic dogmas of the scientific community and just the mechanistic worldview in general, which was started by Descartes and also Newtonian physics, and just the whole empirical science movement in general, which I agree was necessary at the time to really get empirical about stuff, because so much of it back then was metaphysical assumptions and philosophical suggestions. Anyhow, what we know now is that this body is not a shell. This skin is not a shell that separates me from the rest of the living, breathing world around me. It is actually an antenna. It is a membrane. And much like every cell of your body has a membrane around it, which allows things to come in and things to come out, and those membranes also have little antennas. And those antennas allow each cell to behave in accordance to what the rest of the body is doing. The whole body has ways of resonating. Your heart creates an electromagnetic resonance, and it has a frequency, and it entrains through the aorta, your tongue, and then your brain. And when you're meditating and when you're really feeling like in sync and in alignment, you're resonating an electromagnetic field which is entrained and harmonized at 7 hertz with your brain, which works through the spine and leads to a coherence that generates so many benefits, besides joy and feeling blissed out and glowed up, like focus, health. I could go on and on with those, but what I wanted to get to is that these cells, once they're in, they always are, but there's ways to get them to be even more in harmony with each other. These antennas let them know that everything around them is part of themselves, like they're all are cells of the same body, so that when they see another cell, they don't see an intruder, unless it is an intruder, unless it's a foreign. Sometimes there are bacteria that needs to be moved out, but for the most part, the cells recognize each other as part of the same bodies. And through these antennas, the morphic field of the human person whose body it is, that person has a morphic field which is organizing the behavior of all these little cells through these antennas. And that gets kind of complicated. It's super simplified what I just said, and I agree. If anybody wants to get deeper and get to the real science-y, like the complicated part of morphic fields, please feel free to reach out and have a conversation with me or a blog or a talk, because morphic fields is something that no matter how much you read about it, it's still new, and there's still new ways of understanding it. Anyhow, with that, we move into shared systems theory, which is like, not only is it my morphic field and my antennas, I am like a cell in the body of Miami, which is where I live right now, or Florida, or the United States. And I am in an ocean, basically, of influences, which can be likened. You can think of it in terms of like I am just like one single wave in the massive ocean, which is Miami. And all the factors and all the things that are going on in the ocean at the lower level, the level that we don't see, and so many invisible forces which interconnect all of us. All of those forces and all those undercurrents are actually affecting the way that I feel. I could be meditating all day and still somehow have caught the wrong current of something that's happening in the collective mind, or the shared quantum shared system. However you want to think of it. There's a collective mind, there's a morphogenetic field, and then like my morphogenetic field, then there's a morphogenetic field of everybody on my house, then there's a morphogenetic field for all of Miami, and there's like a mother morphogenetic field, which is like in flux, the same way you see the birds flying together, and there's a morphic field that's organizing their behavior, and it's in flux, and that flux influences the way each bird feels. So even though the bird is having an individual experience, it's intrinsically connected to this flux. And now us humans, when you take into account that all this flux and this culture and this society, it's basically it's a system of information. It's an interlinking of information. And there's a constant flux in the information, and there's some information which travels like particles, and some of it travels like waves. And there are so many of these little factors that interconnect all of us, to the point that we're each basically like one little quanta in a massive quantum computer. So we're processing bits in a massive quantum computer, and whatever's happening to that computer, it's gonna happen to us at some level. So like, the more we are aware of this, the more we feel inclined to clean up the oceans, like not trash, to just basically to take care of the whole, to look after somebody. When you see somebody on the driveway who just cut you off, you don't see a stranger, you see another cell that you want to be like, hey, come on, man, maybe I can help you, so that we can both help the body that we're each a part of function better, and then therefore we'll all be healthier. Because even if my liver cell didn't like my lung cell, if my body was healthier, both of them will be having a better time. You know what I mean? So like, to make the whole better benefits everybody within the whole, and that seems fairly likely, fairly evident. So that's my little rant about that. And then in my next video, which I'm going to make shortly, I'm going to connect this to the ego, the little self, which is like, you know, oh, why is this happening to me? And he has such a strong opinions about so many things. That little self is a complete function of the wave of the collective morphic field, or the ocean. Like, it's not a permanent entity. It's the result of forces that are moving in the ocean, or in the quantum computer, or in the herd collective mentality, however you want to call it, the social construct which fed you and downloaded all your beliefs, attitudes, and systems. Thank you.